LA Golf have partnered up with Bryson DeChambeau to release their first ever driver. Now, I'm sure you're wondering then, how can this thing even compete with the major manufacturers? And actually, why would you even partner with Bryson other than he's just an in-trend golfer right now? I've got one here today at Rudding Park, and we're going to hit it, test it, talk about the tech. But first, let's get into some history about LA Golf and who they are and why they're now in the driver market. So LA Golf started off by just making high-end shafts. They've then worked into building putters and now drivers. We've got a couple of interesting partners in Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau, but really what they are is a company that's trying to be on the cutting edge of golf technology, and they're doing it in a way that's different to everybody else. They're like the edgy cool kids at school that dress different, that you all want to be, but you're too scared to go talk to them. So taking the head cover off this thing, and I think the looks are absolutely to die for. We've got like a full black head and basically nothing on the crown. And if you look really closely, there's this LA Golf print on the sole. I don't know how they've done it. You can't feel that it's there, and you can only see it if you sort of catch it in the right light. But I really like how there's just nothing on it. It's plain, it's cool, and there's just one weight sort of slightly towards the heel. Behind the ball is where we start to see the technology in this driver. The main tech story here is the bulge and roll of this face. So it's a fairly well documented battle Bryson's been having with his driver ever since he went up to long drive speed.
If not, 217 from the DeChambeau.
He's been saying for ages that balls off the toe and the heel on a regular face driver from a major manufacturer just go way too far offline for him. On a driver, we have something called bulge and roll, and the idea is when you hit it out the toe and the heel, the ball starts offline but spins more to get the ball back online. So a toe ball will start to the right and hook back, heel will start to the left and slice back. But when you swing it as fast as Bryson does, you actually need more bulge and roll, because at more speed, the ball would start to spin over too much, causing too much curve. So what LA Golf have done that's different to major brands is they don't have 4 or 5 different types of heads. They have one head and they have 5 different faces. So when you go online and look at this driver, what you do is you fill out a questionnaire, which asks you loads of questions about how fast you swing it, what's your shot shape, what do you struggle with, where do you miss the face, all the sort of questions a custom fitter would ask you. And what it does is it recommends one of the faces for you, which is probably going to help your game the most. So what I've got here is the 1010 driver, which comes at 9.5 degrees of loft. And this is like the middle of the road driver. So I swing the club at about 110. And for LA Golf, that's just pretty average, because they build a face for 115 to 130 and then like 130 mile an hour plus club head speed, which is where Bryson sits. They also build drivers for the slower speeds, and those will have a much more familiar profile to what you're used to, with a fairly standard bulge and roll. It'll look very similar to the driver you've got in the bag. Now for me, this driver, when I put the club behind the ball, I feel like the toe and the heel are more set back than the current Titleist driver that I've been using, which is exactly the design, and that is exactly the point. So hopefully what we're going to see when we start hitting a few shots is, if I hit one off the toe of the heel, hopefully going to go a little bit straighter. Now, this is a technology that none of the other brands have actually started playing with, and a bit like in F1, where the F1 cars develop the technology that then slowly filters down to the rest of the, our cars. Bryson's at the top end of speed, he's at the top end of performance. So what we might start to now see is other brands taking note of this technology, and that filtering down through into other brands and more commonly used clubs as well. Now, I'm sure what you're thinking is the driver actually any good? Is it going to be fast off the face, and is it going to get me down the hole far enough, at least as good, if not better, than the other manufacturers? Let's hit some shots now and see how it goes. So we're here at Rudding Park, where they've got 20 holes, and we're on 2 of the holes that aren't in use at the moment. And very kindly, it is the tightest driving hole maybe in Yorkshire. So I'm looking forward to benefiting from the face technology and collecting all the balls that I'm about to hit. So slight dogleg to the right, and I'm going to just try and hammer it straight, maybe with slight fade, to keep the ball in play. Yeah, we missed that. That was toey. Okay, so 156 ball, which is not too bad to say. I basically nearly missed that. 270 carry, significantly low spin. Now, the benefit of buying the LA Golf driver is it does come with an LA Golf shaft included. Their whole thing is, why would you spend $500 on a head and then just put a $10 shaft in it? You know, there's no point. You may as well just use the best thing. So LA Golf shafts are known for being pretty stiff and extremely stable, so just to help us hit the ball straight. So I did actually really like the way that shaft felt in the swing. I did basically hit that from there, so that ball has curved a bit off a bit left, but spin stayed down and actually still gone quite a long way. I don't have loads and loads of experience with upcharged shafts, so that felt pretty stiff to me, but it felt good, to be fair. It doesn't feel too heavy. One of the challenges that we have with this driver is you can't go try it anywhere. You can't get custom fit for it, or at least that, as far as I'm aware, in the UK. Maybe you can in the US, but you're at the mercy. You've got to be really honest with your answers in that questionnaire, otherwise they're going to just send you the wrong thing. You cannot have an ego when it comes to filling out the answers to that questionnaire, otherwise you're going to get a driver that you just can't use. So I think I was pretty honest with my toe hooks and my speed, but let's hit a few more, see if I can find the middle. Wow, very straight, definitely toey again, very straight. 159 ball speed, 286 carry, total spin 1800, so a bit on the low end. Nice high launch though. So that one was, again, slight high toe, but a pretty well optimized club. That pretty well optimized strike. That ball's going to sort of run well past 300. What I really like about this is, like, the strike actually feels pretty meaty. What I don't know is like all the different materials in this head. I don't know what's going on the back of the face like we do all the other manufacturers. It does feel like the strike's quite heavy, like it's very solid. It doesn't feel tinny at all. And actually, I generally prefer sort of the titanium feel and sound. It just sounds more classic to me. So we're ticking some boxes there. Both of those shots have been like high toe side, so that does reduce spin. It sort of would give you the hottest speeds generally and the most optimized total distance, but I think if I get one more out of the center, I'm going to see sort of low 2000s, which is perfect. Probably a slightly lower launch, which I would prefer, and slightly higher ball speed. See what, I like it. So that was a much better strike. We're at 160 ball speed, 276 carry. Spin was a bit higher at 2,500, which is exactly where I want it. And a reasonable ball mark, sort of still maybe slightly toe side, but pretty good there. The first shot was a hook into the trees. Look, I'm not a robot. I am human. I do it offline. But those last two have been like very, very straight ball flights, which I like. I definitely find that when I'm not swinging great, I can get the ball going sharp, low left. So the fact that those have both just not curved has been really nice. Now, something that I think would be really interesting would be seeing Bryson's driver. He's been testing the super high speed, sort of almost like long drive, 130 miles an hour plus face, which would have significantly more bulge and roll than this driver. And I've never known brands mess around with bulge and roll, so it would be cool to sit it behind the ball and just see how extreme that looks. Now, we must acknowledge that Bryson's won this year, 2025, and he doesn't have this in the bag at the moment, but it is featuring in and out of Dustin Johnson's bag, so there must be something in it, and I can only imagine Bryson's about to put it in the bag in the near future. When Bryson left Cobra in COVID or after COVID, I remember he went to Ping, and he was using Ping clubs for a while, and I think he really struggled with their driver for this very reason. And I think all of this new technology has been born out of Bryson standing there with the Ping driver and hitting like toey hooks that he couldn't keep on the planet. Obviously, Bryson does have a physics degree, so he's not a complete meathead who doesn't know anything about golf. He obviously has his sort of fairly scientific approach to playing, but I think he will have thought quite long and hard about this bulge and roll problem he's been having. And on the long drive drivers, they have significantly more bulge and roll anyway. So he's wanted to take some of that technology and put it in a driver that he can use day to day on the golf course. And this is where we've ended up. It is really interesting that it's not in the bag, right? You'd think that with all the stuff that LA Golf are doing and, you know, all the influence he's had, that this would pretty much almost have to go in his bag. But there must be something that he just can't quite drop the crank driver. I can't imagine that he doesn't trust this one, but that crank thing's been working so well for him, and when you have success with something, it's quite hard to let it go. I really like that LA Golf have got their own logo on the Golf Pride grip. I think that's a really nice touch, and I'm a massive fan of like every component on this driver being like high end and good. There's nothing cheap about it, which is cool. It also does have an adjustable hosel, so you can move the loft up and down if you like, but I'm not going to do that because I'm actually quite happy where this is. Right, come on. That's absolutely perfect. 160, 273, 27 spin. Sort of finding the sweet spot here. That's another. I actually really like the shaft. Something about it just seems to sort of kick right for me because I'm finding the middle of the face a lot. And generally when I have a shaft, can you see that?
Yep.
Generally when I have a shaft that either isn't fit for me or is not very good, is I really struggle with strike. So I sort of credit to LA Golf's online fit system because I sort of do think it's sort of nailed me quite well there. Bit of a draw. Again, good strike. Pretty happy. Could just do with the numbers. 162, yeah, nice. 162 ball speed, 276 carry, 2,300 spin is like, I mean, that is as good, if not, well, yeah, that's as good as I've had from any driver. And this is LA Golf's first attempt at a driver. So I think that's pretty, you know, worth saying in itself. Has it like changed my life? No, not really. The performance on this is sort of very, very similar to the Titleist that I've sort of chosen to game this year. But I definitely could swap this in. And actually, I like this sort of weird anti-establishment counterculture vibe LA Golf have got on, which sort of makes me want to lean towards them anyway. It's cool to have a club that no one else has got. And I do like the idea that I'm using a technology that's sort of a little bit further on than maybe some of the other brands are as well. I've no doubt that they might follow if this does sort of work. Certainly for the higher speed players, this is a huge benefit, definitely. So I think what we can comfortably say is this driver is definitely going to compete with these major manufacturers. I've seen performance there which is pretty much on par, if not maybe better than the other big drivers out on the market at the moment. And what I would say is, if you're a high speed player, of which I'm sure many of you are, and you're sort of pushing that sort of 105 to 120 and beyond clubhead speed with driver, which is just becoming more and more common nowadays, it's definitely worth considering. I buy the technology that the toe and the heel strikes are going to go straighter on this because of the different bulge and roll. And certainly in the two face designs that are for quicker players than me, you're going to see less curve on the golf ball, but more curve on the face, which is going to help you hit more fairways. So let me know if you're going to try this. Let me know if there's anywhere you know where you can go get fit for one of these, because I'd be interested in that too. And hopefully you've enjoyed the video. So if you have, please hit that like button, comment, let me know if you're going to have a go with one of these, and subscribe if you don't already.